Walking through customs feels like one of those moments where everything you say matters, because it does. One wrong answer to a customs officer's question can trigger consequences that follow you for years, from denied entry and lifetime travel bans to criminal charges and prison time. These aren't dramatic exaggerations. Every single day, travelers at airports around the world face serious legal problems simply because they misunderstood a question, tried to be clever with their answers, or made assumptions about what customs officers wanted to hear. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments what city you are watching from and what time it is there. I am always curious where everyone is tuning in from. Today, we're walking through the 10 most critical customs questions that you absolutely cannot afford to answer incorrectly. You'll learn what these questions really mean, why customs officers ask them, what happens when people give the wrong answers, and most importantly, how to respond correctly to protect yourself from unnecessary complications. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what customs and immigration officers are looking for in your responses, and you'll have the knowledge to breeze through customs interviews with confidence. Let's get into it. Question number 1 is deceptively simple. What is the purpose of your visit? Customs and Border Protection officers ask this to verify that your stated purpose matches your visa type and that you're not planning to work illegally or overstay. Answer briefly and directly. If you're on a tourist visa, say tourism or vacation. If you're visiting family, say visiting family. If you're on a business visa, state the specific purpose, like attending a conference. Where people run into problems is when they volunteer information that contradicts their visa status. A traveler on a tourist visa who mentions looking at real estate to potentially move permanently immediately raises red flags. The golden rule is to match your answer precisely to your visa classification. Don't add extra details. Don't speculate about future plans, and never mention anything related to employment if you're not on a work visa. The consequences can be severe. Customs officers have broad authority to deny entry if they believe you're not truthful or your purpose doesn't align with your visa. You can be turned away at the border and potentially banned from future entry. Lying about your purpose of visit can result in a lifetime inadmissibility ban under Section 212 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Question number 2 is, where are you staying? Officers want to verify that you have legitimate accommodation and that your answer matches other information in your documents. Answer with specific details. Provide the name and address of your hotel, or if staying with family or friends, provide their complete address. Don't say, "I haven't decided yet," or "I'm figuring it out when I get there." These vague responses immediately trigger suspicion. The mistake many travelers make is providing inconsistent information. If your customs form lists one address but you verbally give a different one, officers will investigate. Always have your accommodation details written down and readily accessible. Question number 3 is one of the most legally significant. Did you pack your bags yourself? This isn't small talk. This is a security and liability question with serious implications. Customs and Border Protection officers ask this to establish whether you have full knowledge of everything in your luggage. If you say no, you immediately become a potential security risk because you're admitting you might be unknowingly transporting prohibited or dangerous items for someone else. The correct answer, assuming it's true, is yes. If someone genuinely helped you pack, like a spouse or parent, you should say, "My spouse helped me pack, but I know everything that's in my bags." The worst possible answer is no, I didn't pack my bags, or I don't know what's in my bags. This response can trigger an extensive secondary inspection, involvement of law enforcement, and potential denial of entry. A traveler once told customs officers he didn't know what was in a briefcase he was carrying. Even though the briefcase only contained an old typewriter, his statement caused a major security response, airport police involvement, and nearly resulted in criminal charges. The issue wasn't what was actually in the bag. The issue was that he admitted to transporting items without knowing their contents, which violates fundamental security protocols. Never agree to carry packages or luggage for other people, even if they seem trustworthy. Customs officers are specifically trained to identify potential mules, people who unknowingly or knowingly transport illegal items for others. If you admit you're carrying something for someone else and you don't know what it contains, you fit that profile exactly. In countries with strict drug laws, this can result in arrest and prosecution, even if you genuinely didn't know what you were transporting. The legal principle in many jurisdictions is that you're responsible for everything in your possession, regardless of whether you knew it was there. Question number 4 is, do you have anything to declare? This question is about honesty and compliance with customs regulations. You must declare items that exceed duty-free allowances, certain types of goods like large amounts of cash, food products, plants, animals, and anything else that customs regulations require you to report. The consequences of answering this question incorrectly are both civil and criminal. If you fail to declare items you're required to report, customs can seize those items and impose penalties. For merchandise not declared, the penalty can equal the full value of the items plus additional fines. The $10,000 currency rule is where many travelers get caught. You must declare any currency or monetary instruments totaling more than $10,000 when entering or leaving the United States. This includes cash, money orders, traveler's checks, and other negotiable instruments. Failing to declare amounts over this threshold can result in seizure of all your money, not just the amount over $10,000. On an average day, United States Customs and Border Protection seizes approximately $300,000 in undeclared or illicit currency. The penalties can include fines up to $500,000 and imprisonment for up to 10 years if authorities believe the omission was intentional. People often think they can avoid the declaration requirement by splitting money among multiple people in their travel group or by hiding it in creative places. Both strategies will fail. Customs officers are trained to detect these tactics, and attempting to circumvent reporting requirements actually makes your situation worse. The correct approach is simple. If you're carrying more than $10,000, complete the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network Form 105, either online before your trip or on paper at the airport. Declaring your money is not illegal and does not automatically trigger an investigation. Failing to declare it absolutely will cause problems. Food items are another common declaration issue. Many countries strictly regulate what food products can enter their borders due to agricultural and biosecurity concerns. Even if something seems harmless, like fruit from your home country or homemade food gifts, you must declare it. Officers understand that people forget about snacks in their bags, but they take it seriously when travelers deliberately conceal food items or lie about having them. The penalties can include fines, seizure of the items, and in repeated or egregious cases, criminal charges. Question number 5 is, how long will you be staying? Your answer must match your visa validity period and your stated purpose. If you're on a tourist visa that allows 90 days but you say you're staying for 6 months, that's an immediate problem. If you have a 2-week vacation planned but you say you're not sure, maybe a few months, officers will question whether you understand your visa limitations or whether you're planning to overstay. The correct response is to state the specific duration that aligns with your return ticket and your visa conditions. The issue becomes complicated when travelers give vague or inconsistent answers. Saying "I'm playing it by ear" or "until I run out of money" suggests you don't have firm plans and might overstay your authorized period. These statements, even if made casually, can result in additional questioning or denial of entry. Customs officers want to see that you have clear plans to leave the country within your authorized timeframe. Having a return ticket is one of the strongest pieces of evidence, but your verbal answer must match that documentation. Some travelers think they're being friendly by saying "I love it here," "I wish I could stay forever." While this might be intended as a compliment to the country, it signals to customs officers that you might not respect the terms of your visa. Keep your answers professional and factual. State your intended departure date, show your return ticket if asked, and don't make jokes about wanting to stay permanently or not wanting to leave. These comments can and do result in denied entry. Question number 6 is, have you visited this country before? This question helps officers verify your travel history and check for any previous immigration violations. Answer truthfully and specifically. If you visited before, say yes and be prepared to provide approximate dates if asked. If this is your first visit, say no. Where people get into trouble is when they try to hide previous visits, especially if those visits involved any issues. Customs and Border Protection officers have access to extensive databases that show your complete travel history. Lying about previous visits will be discovered, and that dishonesty becomes its own serious problem. If you've had issues on previous visits, such as overstaying a visa or being denied entry, be honest about it if asked directly. Many travelers think that admitting to past problems will guarantee denial of entry, so they lie. In reality, lying about your history guarantees denial and can result in a permanent ban. Past issues may or may not affect your current entry depending on the circumstances and how much time has passed, but current dishonesty will absolutely affect your entry. Officers have some discretion in how they handle past violations, but they have no discretion when it comes to lying during the current interview. The same principle applies to previous immigration applications. If you've ever applied for a visa that was denied, disclose this information if asked. Trying to hide a previous denial is considered fraud and can result in permanent inadmissibility under Section 212 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. This lifetime ban applies even if your current application would otherwise be approved. The lesson is clear. Honesty about your history, even uncomfortable truths, is always better than being caught in a lie. Question number 7 is, are you traveling with anyone? This helps officers verify your story and check for inconsistencies. If you're traveling with family or a group, say yes and explain who you're with. If you're traveling alone, say no. The complication arises when your answer doesn't match other evidence. Provide complete but concise answers and don't try to simplify your situation in ways that create inconsistencies. Question number 8 is, what is your occupation? This question serves multiple purposes. Officers want to verify that your employment status makes sense with your travel plans and financial situation. They're also checking whether your occupation might indicate you're planning to work illegally in their country. Answer with your actual job title or status. If you're employed, state your position. If you're self-employed, say so. If you're a student, retired, or unemployed, state that clearly. The problems occur when travelers give answers that raise red flags. If you say you're unemployed but you're on an expensive vacation staying in luxury accommodations, officers will question how you're funding your trip. If you say you're a student but you're traveling during the academic term with no clear explanation, that's suspicious. If your occupation is in a field that's in high demand in the country you're visiting and you're on a tourist visa, officers may suspect you're planning to seek employment. Never lie about your occupation. If you're unemployed and worried that will hurt your chances of entry, explain your financial situation honestly. I'm currently between jobs, but I have savings to support this trip, is a reasonable explanation. Officers understand that unemployment doesn't automatically disqualify you from travel, but lying about it does. Similarly, if you work in a sensitive field or your job involves information that customs might find relevant to security screening, disclose it honestly. Attempting to hide your occupation is far more problematic than having a job that requires additional questions. Question number 9 is, do you have a criminal record? This is where honesty is absolutely critical. Many countries conduct background checks that reveal criminal history, and lying about convictions can result in immediate denial of entry, arrest, and permanent bans. The United States Customs and Border Protection has access to international criminal databases and extensive screening tools. If you lie about your criminal record and get caught, you face immediate refusal of entry and potential prosecution for immigration fraud under Title 18 United States Code Section 1546, which carries penalties of fines and imprisonment. The complexity here is that having a criminal record doesn't automatically disqualify you from travel, but lying about it almost certainly will. If you have a criminal history, you may need to apply for a waiver of inadmissibility before you travel. This process takes time and requires legal documentation, but it's the proper way to handle the situation. Showing up at customs and lying about your record when officers can easily verify the truth is the worst possible approach. Different countries have different standards for what constitutes a disqualifying offense. Generally, crimes involving moral turpitude, drug violations, and serious violent crimes can make you inadmissible. But even minor offenses from decades ago can cause issues if you lie about them. The question isn't just, do you have a criminal record? It's, have you ever been arrested or convicted of a crime? This broader phrasing means you must disclose even charges that were dismissed or expunged in some jurisdictions. When in doubt, consult with an immigration attorney before your trip to understand what you're required to disclose and whether you need additional documentation. Question number 10 ties everything together. Is everything you've told me true? This is often the final question in a customs interview, and it's your last opportunity to correct any errors or clarify any statements. Officers ask this because they're giving you a chance to revise answers before they make their final decision. If you realize you made a mistake in any of your previous answers, this is the moment to correct it. Saying, actually, I need to clarify something about my previous visit, is much better than being caught in an inconsistency later. The worst thing you can do at this point is stick with false information because you're worried that changing your story will make you look dishonest. Officers understand that people get nervous and sometimes misspeak. What they don't tolerate is discovering lies after they've given you multiple opportunities to be truthful. If you've been honest throughout the interview, answer yes confidently. If you have any doubts about anything you've said, address them now. Understanding why customs officers ask these questions helps you provide better answers. Their job is to enforce immigration laws, protect national security, prevent illegal work, stop smuggling, and identify people who might pose risks. They're not trying to trick you or deny entry to legitimate travelers. They're following established protocols designed to keep borders secure while facilitating legal travel. The vast majority of customs interviews are routine and brief. Problems arise when travelers are unprepared, dishonest, or provide answers that contradict their documentation. The consequences of answering these questions incorrectly extend far beyond one denied entry. Under United States immigration law, fraud or willful misrepresentation of a material fact results in permanent inadmissibility under Section 212 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. This lifetime ban means you can never enter the United States again without an extremely difficult waiver process. Even small false statements can trigger this consequence if they're deemed material to your admissibility determination. Material means the false information was relevant to the decision of whether to allow you entry. Criminal penalties are also possible. Making false statements to customs officials can result in prosecution under federal law. Title 18 United States Code Section 1001 prohibits false statements to federal officials and carries penalties of fines and up to 5 years imprisonment. Providing fraudulent documents or making material misrepresentations can result in charges under Title 18 United States Code Section 1546, with penalties including imprisonment. These aren't theoretical consequences. People are prosecuted for lying to customs officers, and convictions result in criminal records that affect employment, housing, and future travel. Now let's talk about how to handle customs interviews correctly. Preparation is your first line of defense. Before you travel, gather all relevant documents, including your passport, visa, return ticket, accommodation confirmations, proof of financial means, employment letter if relevant, and any other documents that support your purpose of travel. Having these readily accessible shows that you're organized and truthful. Review your travel itinerary so you can answer questions about your plans confidently and consistently. During the interview, stay calm and polite. Customs officers deal with thousands of travelers, and they can read body language and stress levels. Being nervous is normal and doesn't indicate dishonesty, but being defensive, hostile, or evasive does raise red flags. Answer questions directly and concisely. Don't volunteer excessive information that wasn't asked for, but don't be so brief that you seem evasive. If you don't understand a question, politely ask for clarification. It's better to ask an officer to repeat or rephrase a question than to guess and give an incorrect answer. If you're selected for secondary inspection, comply fully and remain patient. Secondary screening is a normal procedure that happens for various reasons, many of which have nothing to do with you personally. Random checks, computer-flagged profiles, need for additional document verification, and routine compliance audits all result in secondary inspections. Being sent to secondary doesn't mean you've done something wrong, and cooperating politely will help resolve the situation quickly. Maintain consistency across all your documents and verbal answers. Your visa application, customs declaration form, and verbal responses to officers should all tell the same story. If any discrepancies exist, be prepared to explain them clearly. Circumstances change and officers understand that, but they need to see honesty and transparency. If your plans changed after you filled out your visa application, explain what changed and why. If you made an error on your customs form, correct it immediately when you realize it. Never try to be clever or funny during customs interviews. Sarcasm, jokes about immigration laws, or attempts to charm your way through questioning can backfire badly. Officers hear every possible joke and attempt at humor throughout their workday, and they're trained to take statements at face value. What you think is an obvious joke might be recorded as a statement of intent. Keep your demeanor professional and your answers factual. Smart travelers understand that the few minutes spent in a customs interview can have lasting impacts. Answer every question truthfully, provide documentation that supports your answers, and stay calm throughout the process. Don't try to outsmart the system or hide relevant information. Remember that customs officers have heard every story and encountered every type of traveler. They want straightforward, honest, verifiable answers. Give them exactly that, and your customs experience will be smooth and stress-free. The goal is to demonstrate that you're a legitimate traveler with honest intentions. So before your next international trip, review these 10 critical questions. Prepare your answers based on truthful information that matches your documentation. Organize your supporting documents so they're easily accessible. And approach the customs interview with confidence, knowing that honesty and preparation are your best strategies. Safe travels, and we'll see you on the other side of customs.